What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, as you can tell from the title, we're going to be having ourselves a little diddly of a story about a Karen that destroyed this dude's car. Yeah, that's right. This subscriber sent in a story to me about how he was just minding his business, driving home from work, ended up, doing a pretty normal road maneuver, and the Karen that witnessed it freaked out on him and ended up attacking his car and calling the cops, but she was the one that got charged with the crime. I'm gonna be honest at this point. I feel like interacting with the Karen is kind of a fun thing. You have a story forever, and I feel like the tide has turned. Karens don't really get their way much anymore. Regardless, it should be a pretty fun video, but before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. Your car will also be attacked by a Karen, and trust me, you don't want that. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright guys, so the subscriber that sent in this story is 17 now, and they've been driving for close to a year. They got a car on their 16th birthday. They had parents that spoiled them a little bit, and they at least had the balls to say that when they sent me their story, so I'm gonna cut them a break for having a car. And his parents got him a way nicer car than a 16-year-old needs. As I said, he admits that, and he was driving a new F-150, like a brand new F-150. He's a 17-year-old kid. He does have a job, so basically the only time it gets driven is from house to school, house to work, work to home. It doesn't go a ton of crazy places. Regardless, one night he gets off work a little bit later than normal at about 10 p.m. Normally you get off a little earlier when you're young, but whatever, he had stayed late. And he's minding his own business, and he's on his way back from work, and as he's coming up to this intersection, the light turns yellow, and he was kind of at that awkward spot where you're in a situation where you could hit the gas and gun it and you could make it through, or you could slow down. It's not like you're in the intersection. It would be a risky yellow to run. And because it was late and he was just a little bit tired, he decides to stop at the yellow light. And like I said, everybody's been in that situation. I'm usually a gas person, but he decides to slow down. And apparently the person behind him was very upset with the fact that he decided to slow down at the yellow light, because he just starts to hear a horn from behind him, just like somebody kind of angrily just blaring the horn over and over again. So it's pretty obvious to him that whoever's behind him honking that horn is pissed. And so he looks out of his rear view mirror and he can't really see what type of car it is. All he can see is the back of it and the top of it. Whatever car was behind him, was a smaller car, kind of like a compact, and it was just so low to the ground and so up on his butt tailgating him that he literally could not see it from his rear view mirror. So he's kind of damn, bro, this guy's in a bad mood. He is literally on my tailgate. That's wild, but they'll get over it. The light will turn green and we'll go our different ways. And the horn is still going off while he's thinking about this. It doesn't take crazy long. And finally, the horn stops honking and he's like, okay, they realize they're being silly. But when he thinks the person realizes they're being silly, he sees the driver door open. And usually at that point, when someone's road raging and the door opens, you're like, this is not gonna be good. So he kind of starts getting ready to run the red light just in case, and out steps this soccer mom looking lady. And she is just screaming about how, he needs to learn how to drive, and you're supposed to go through a yellow light, red is when you're supposed to stop. And his window is rolled up and he can still hear what she's screaming. Keep in mind, it's 10 at night, so he just tries to ignore her. He's like, all right, I'm just gonna act like I don't hear her. But that becomes increasingly difficult because she walks up to the driver's side window and starts hitting it while screaming at him that he's a horrible driver. And at that point, he doesn't really know what to do, so he looks at the window and goes, the light was yellow, that means slow down. And he thinks that that should kind of do the trick. Only because it should be insanely obvious at that point that oh, the light was yellow, that means slow down. And anyone above a third grade education would be in a situation where they would understand. But I guess this girl never played with anything involving cars as a kid. Because when he says it's yellow, I slowed down, she starts saying that she has never known anyone so stupid to think that a yellow light is for slowing down. Which is a very confusing sentence to me. You're basically admitting that every person you've ever seen or driven with is horrible at driving. They always gun it. Without fail, there is never a situation where they've ever slowed down for a yellow light. I don't necessarily feel like that's a great thing either. You know what I mean? Regardless, this poor subscriber is still just getting yelled at by this Karen, confused on what the hell he's supposed to be doing, and that's when she starts trying to open the car door. And at that point, he's like, all right, I've tried to be nice, I'm over it, and he is just like, get away from my car now! Because up until this point, it's just a crazy lady. Now if she's trying to get him out of the car, it's like a safety thing. And when he starts yelling at her to get away from the car, she's like, I'm not gonna do what you're telling me to do. I'm older than you. You're supposed to respect your elders. And I've never understood that argument when the old person is being nuts. Like, I understand if a person that's older than you is asking you to do something completely reasonable and like you're just being a jerk for no reason, respect your elders. But no, if you're trying to attack me and pull me out of my car to berate me and hit me because I ran a yellow light, like that's not respecting my elders, bro. That's just, you're nuts. So whatever, this kid is like, I'm not getting out of the car and I'm not gonna respect my elders. And at that point, she starts going back to her car. And once again, this subscriber, doing the normal human thought, goes, okay, it's over. She realizes I'm not gonna get out of the car and she's done. But instead, she goes to the back of the car, opens the door, and pulls out a mini baseball bat. Like, you know the collectible baseball bats that they sell at stadiums? Not the ones that are the full ones, but they're probably about a third of the size, I would say. And she walks back up to the window and is like, apologize or I'm gonna make you regret it. And, you know, he doesn't really think that this woman would be crazy enough to start attacking the car with a mini baseball bat, so he goes, no, I'm not gonna apologize. I didn't do anything wrong. And right when he says that, she moves to the hood of the car, lifts up the baseball bat, and just like brings it down, denting the hood. And she's like, there's plenty more where that came from, apologize. And he's screaming now, he's like, what are you doing? You're attacking my car. And she just proceeds to keep hitting different parts of the hood, the side of the car, just denting as much of it as she can. And at that point, the light turns green and he guns it out of there and is like, what the hell? But as he guns it, she was kind of not in front of the car, but like to the front and left. So she's like, oh my God, you tried to run me over. I'm calling the police. And she hops in her little Fiesta and starts following him on the phone with the cops. And the kid ends up driving home. He's like, all right, I don't really know what to do or where to go. I just don't want to be in the middle of the road with this crazy lady. At least if I get home, you know, my parents will be there. So he calls his parents and he lets them know what's happening. He's like crying because he's just scared at this point. You know, he's like, I don't know what's happening. This lady's hitting my car with a baseball bat. She's following me. So he goes home and he's pulling up the driveway and he sees his parents standing at the top of the driveway waiting for him to get home. And behind him is this crazy lady. So he stops the car and the Karen gets out and she starts screaming that, like, you know, the cops are on the way. She's been in contact with him. He's going to be in trouble. And his parents are like, what is going on? And she starts trying to say that, like, he tried to run her over because he doesn't know how to drive and can't handle criticism. And he is just like a deer in headlights. He doesn't know what's going on. And his dad kind of asked the Karen, well, if he doesn't know how to drive and all this started over nothing, like, why is there dents all in his car? What happened? And she goes, well, I was trying to teach him a lesson about driving, so I started hitting his car with a baseball bat. This lady thought that somehow it was still his fault, even though she knew that she had been hitting the car with the baseball bat. Like, this lady was just so delusional, she thought that was acceptable. You know how it is. If somebody isn't driving the way that you like, the only acceptable thing to do in that situation is to beat their car relentlessly. If you do anything other than that, there's a possibility that, you know, they won't learn their lesson. It's like, I don't know if you necessarily need to do that. In fact, I would also say that if you start hitting someone's car and they drive away and you accidentally get hit, which she didn't, that's kind of on you, bro. Like, if you start attacking me out of nowhere and I go to get away and you fall over in the process, like, that sucks for you. I don't care. So whatever, obviously at this point they start to hear sirens and cops start to pull up, and it's like 5 cop cars. They're not really sure what the Karen had told these cops, but it's clear that they think there's some crazy stuff going on, which it was. And immediately they start calming everybody down. They separate the parent and the kid. They separate the Karen and they just kind of start talking to everybody. And sure enough, the kid starts like telling the cop what happened. You know, I stopped at the yellow light. She starts honking the horn at me. She gets pissy. She told me to get out of the car. Da-da-da-da-da. And the cop is kind of looking at him. And he was expecting the cop to give him the look of like, oh, you're crazy. But the cop is just kind of like, yeah, and you know, he kind of goes quiet and he goes, all right, well, this lady does have a history of road rage and, you know, getting out of control. So I don't disbelieve that that's possibly what happened here, you know. Meanwhile, she's probably on the other side telling the cops just some crazy stuff. But at the same time, if this lady is unhinged enough to tell this kid's dad that, like, yeah, I hit the car you paid for with a baseball bat because I didn't like the way he was driving, then she's also probably dumb enough to tell the cops that. So whatever, they're all talking, and, you know, they walk over to the parents, they're talking to his parents, they're talking to him, he sees the cops talking to the lady, and then he sees the lady starting to get frustrated with the cop. She's like, are you kidding me? No, 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 and she just starts saying no, and then she starts to kind of try to run back to her car, her little tiny compact car. And so when she starts running, the cop grabs her, and she tries to, like, pull her arm out of his grip, and at that point, he, like, tackles her. And he starts going, ma'am, you're under arrest, da-da-da-da-da, and she's on the ground like, no, I didn't do anything wrong, you're arresting the wrong person, you're arresting the wrong person. She had called the cops to try to get this kid in trouble, but, like, didn't realize that the cops actually do the thing where they arrest the person that caused the problem. And believe it or not, randomly hopping out and beating somebody's car with the baseball bat is up there. And what they had been talking to his parents about, you know, he was kind of a little away, was the possibility of pressing charges. And his parents were like, yeah. I mean, obviously, if somebody is going to threaten your kid and, like, scare the crap out of them, make them afraid to drive, you probably would be pretty pissed off, too. You know, the kid who sent me this is like, I probably wouldn't have pressed charges, but they felt like their kid had been threatened, and obviously, you know, she had, like, done a lot of damage to the car, so he understands why his parents did. And of course it sucks, but I don't feel bad for her. Like, if you play stupid games, sometimes you win stupid prizes, and I feel like vandalizing a car is a pretty stupid game to be trying to go pro in. Last time I checked, there's not any ESEA leagues for, like, vandalism. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the 18th International World Series of Vandalism. We've got baseball bats, we've got bricks. How much damage can they cause? Let's find out. Alright guys, I'm going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. On screen now is actually an Xbox gift card. For those of you that don't know, I give away a gift card in every single video I post here on the channel as a way to just say thank you to you guys for supporting me and watching all the content. So yeah, whoever gets the code, have fun with it, and big thank you to everyone who's subscribed with those notifications on. If you haven't, you really should, and on that note, I'll shut up and get back to the video. Thanks. So anyways, Karen's getting hauled away, but the kid is still shaking up, and his parents kind of start talking to him, and they're like, look, we'll get the truck fixed, you know, and for some reason, this poor kid is like, I feel bad, and they're like, why do you feel bad? He's like, well, should I have run the yellow light? Somehow, in all of this kid was still thinking about the fact that, like, all of this transpired over the yellow light. I mean, in my opinion, you know, to make you feel better, dude, this lady was going to lose her mind this night regardless. Like, obviously, considering she went ballistic over something as little as stopping at a yellow light, this was happening either way. Whether it was you setting her off or, like, the guy at Wendy's not hearing her order correctly, something was getting her arrested tonight. Do you know what I mean? Man, you just really got to think about the fact that, like, these people are out there, you know, somewhere out there driving next to you is a lady that's like, I could beat that car with a baseball bat right now, and they'd probably let me get away with it. Like, that's a real thought that some people out there really have. So to make things better, the car is getting fixed, obviously. The lady, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen to her. I'm guessing not anything good. I feel like at a certain point, you gotta lose your license if you're that mad on the road. You know, like the cop literally told the kid, yeah, she's kind of known for this. Like, call me crazy, but maybe if somebody starts to get a reputation for recklessly threatening and destroying cars on the road, it might be time to revoke the good old license. If somebody's that unstable where they're known for road rage, I feel like letting them operate heavy machinery that could do a lot of damage is the last thing I want them doing, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it shouldn't be a right for most people, but, like, you get 3 strikes. If you vandalize 3 cars with a mini baseball bat and think you're justified, the license is gone. We gotta cut you off, dude. Regardless, thank you to the subscriber for sending this in. If you guys have any super crazy stuff that happened, you can let me know. But on that note, I think that's going to do it for the video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to head down there and press the like button. It really helps the video. And while you're down there, you might as well comment. If you don't know what to comment down below, just go ahead and put Autobot in honor of the car that got destroyed today. Yes, that's right. He himself was a Transformer. Other than that, if you really want to support the channel a little bit more, if you use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout, you will get yourself a discount. Pretty cool if you ask me, because it's the best energy drink for gamers by gamers. Beyond that, I also have a podcast known as the Scuffedcast, which you guys can check out in the description down below. And yeah, last but certainly not least, if you guys take a second and look on screen now, you will see the coolest merch to ever exist in the history of the planet, aka the Swagtastic 2 million sub collection merch. You can also find a link to that down below in the description. But yeah, on that note, guys, that's gonna do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.